if you follow like the stages, the progress claim, so that we will actually, when we completed our design or we got the approval, then they have to pay us. But sometimes they will use the excuse like, oh, work not started yet, and we pay you when the work started, something like that. So what can we do? We can only hold their approvals and permit on hand.
Yeah.
And I mean, for developers and owner, usually I think they will have this kind of mindset that they will pay the contractors first, because it's a physical work.
Those are the physicals that they want.
For consultants like us or for designers, we are on papers. So it's not so feasible for that.
And I also do realize that a lot of our consultation milestone, right, is upon submission, right? Upon completion of certain things, then we claim, right?
Yes.
Let's say DBKL approves, then we can claim a certain milestone. And that's also when, I already got the approval, I can delay your payment anyway also. That's where you feel like it's taken advantage of.
We only inform them, hey, we got the approval already, so on my hand. But for their mindset, maybe, okay, good, got the approval already. But
then I need to focus on the construction first already, allocate the fund there.
Okay, wait for a while. Something like that. So another thing is like, I mean, if we follow the minimum scale of fees or the regulation that's set by the board, the PAM contract or IEM contract or BM contract, usually upon obtaining the approvals, only you're entitled to claim. But for my business practice, I don't really do that unless a bigger scale project. So I usually ask for deposit first.
Absolutely.
Because it's down to road until you obtaining the approval, it might take about 3 to 4 months or even 1 year.
So you'll be probably doing work for free.
Yeah, you're doing for free, then maybe they will carry for the projects. Okay, no budget for this project, they're on hold. But you already did all this design and drawings issue out for their study. So I think it's not really fair for the consultants.
So what you're saying is they don't even pay the deposit. The first milestone
if you're following the regulations set in the board. So
it's really quite difficult to follow those regulations and those guidelines, right? Unless you're a damn big company.
I mean, for government projects, yes, consultant benefits for the consultant because they have to follow the minimum scale of fees.
Right.
For private owner or some branded developers,
so it's very often
we are talking about lump sum.
Okay.
Definitely below the scale, and the progress claim is different from the board set one.
Do you have like a rough estimation of like what the normal is? Because I understand from architecture the minimum scale of fee, let's say 3%, right?
3%. I mean,
some people go until like 1.2, 1.5.
Yes, it's normal because because I'm doing a project management consultant, we associate with like designers.
Yeah, so maybe you share a little bit more of like what you do. Usually
for whole projects, consultation fee stands about 8 to 10% of the whole total construction cost. Okay, but usually the developer, they don't talk about the percentage now, about lump sum. Okay, let's say a bungalow, 4 millions. If you get an 8%, likely about few 100,000. But lump sum, 100,000 include architect, CNS, M&E, everything.
Then he can build an 8 million bungalow. It also stays at 100K.
Yes.
So that's where it's being taken for granted.
Correct. So that's the downside for consultant. But because everyone is like throwing price in the market, you want to do or not? I mean, we also wanted to survive, so we are forced to match sometimes. Of course, there's good clients that they're okay with the fees. They just follow. They're understandable. They are being more understandable. Sometimes they really study on the minimum scale of fees, so they roughly know where's the fees for each of the consultants.
Where do you what are the strategies that you think over the years you've applied to making sure that you try to get as much as you can, or rather try to match the minimum scale of fee?
That's why I don't follow the minimum scale of fees.
Right.
I can give you lower than the market price, But I definitely ask for deposit. I definitely ask for down payment, stuff like that. Because that's how I need operation costs. Right? I need to cover my staff overhead, my company overhead, things like that. So yeah, that's how I mean, play around on the progress claim. Yeah, I wouldn't follow the standard progress claim.
Standard progress claim, would you say the chunks are too big? Or?
Yes, the risk is bigger for a small company like us.
So meaning you would break it down to smaller parts of claim?
Yes. Maybe say for projects, the standard one, if for a new development project, we have KM, which call Kebenaran Merancang or Development Order. DO. So after we got the DO, then we go for building plan submission, for the infra submission. For infra submission, there's a lot of external department involved. IWK, IS Lango, JPS, JKR. So how I manage the stage claim is like, okay, when I submitted the KM, so I need to claim. I completed the building plan submission, then I need to claim. So maybe I break down in more stages.
What are you trying to say? This is not normal in the guidelines? Isn't it supposed to be like KM, BP?
In standard guideline, I think a big picture is like, you got a KM, yes, you may claim. There's no confirmation or deposit.
Yeah.
Okay, then you got the building plan, you're entitled to claim. Okay, then construction stage. It's only like 4 to 5 stages only.
Right.
But for me, I might break down into even more stages.
Yeah. Because you will never know what will happen at different stages. They could just pull handbrake and then you will lose one chunk of 30%.
Correct. Yes.
It's similar to our industry as well.
Yeah. That's why for government project, yes, you have to follow because they already set the guideline there. But for maybe private project, you see how you place around with it.
I think this is one thing I learned through some of our project claims is that we try to take control of that milestone more than leaving that control to the client. So it's in a way that I have one project that the milestone states that upon approval of the 3D, we can claim 20%. Well, this 20% never came because over the last 9 months, the client kept saying that I don't think this is approved. I don't think this is confirmed.
I mean, we need to get the client to sign off on the drawings.
So then they don't want to sign, then they don't want to pay that 20%. We almost submitted like 95% of the 3D AD. So it's stuck there. So that's a little something that I learned from the claiming process. Then you're saying like, okay, so let's talk about claiming and the money part of things. Like you are saying also like there's a lot of clients not paying, not honoring.
Yeah.
What would your strategies be like? What are some of the actions that you've taken?
Some of the actions I think keep calling is one of the common practice but I don't think it works.
Because they've already decided not to pay, right?
So what I usually do, I will go jamcha with clients like, hey, hi, how are you? So what's going on this? And we'll understand his situation and try to negotiate with him. Maybe he owe you already for like 5-6 months.
Yeah.
Then you just ask, maybe you can pay me half of it, or 20% of it, or pay by installment per month. Maybe we will offer some terms like that, just to make sure our money able to collect.
Yeah, it's bit by bit, at least you can cover rent, cover some OPEX and all, right?
Yeah, there's an operation cost for the company that we need to take care of.
I mean, quite thankful for you that, you have not gone to those ugly stages of like litigations and letter of demand and all that, right?
Yeah.
Because for my experience is that when we start taking that step, right, it's very tense because you feel like you've broken the relationship with the client already by shooting this out. It's not gonna be. It's like no U-turn already lah.
We try not to shoot out LD letter of demand, right? But if it has to go to that, you still have to carry out that step.
Right.
So far, we haven't issued any out yet. Hopefully not. So we are just trying our best to chase back all these debts. We have debts more than 12 months. Yeah, because the client say, it's still under process. The approval is not fully out yet. They will wait for all approval out.
So what you're saying is JKI, WK, everything all approval.
Yeah, but in our claim it's already stated like, KM I claim, then I got the infra approval, I claim, then got the building plan, I claim. But then if I say I want all approval out, only I will release the payment. Something like that.
Yeah.
So that's the hiccups.
It feels like this is happening to every small little part of the industry, whether you're a subcon, whether you're a developer, clients, consultant, or main con. Everyone seems to experience a little bit of this kind of they try to push the boundaries and limit see where they can get right?
Correct.
So let's say you're going back to the process of like BP, DO, BP, subsequently all the way to CCC right? It is always a standard series of stages.
Yes.
Would that be like a la carte? Like, can you only just handle this part or that part, that kind of stuff?
How do you...
Why I'm asking this is because if you have this sort of standard menu, right, that allows client to make comparison to many other different firms, of which are there any services or different structure of business that you can offer so that you stand different, right? So that instead of this architect charging 3%, that architect could charge 5% because of something different. Is there such in
because
the engineering line?
In engineering, because our company is project management consultant, so usually what we offer to our client is like, I can get my full team to handle your projects because we associate with architects and engineers.
Okay.
I mean, including project management, those up of the proper scope of service. And you deal a lot with authorities,
correct,
contractors or what. So that's our plus point, I would say. We can manage all these things. Because if you deal with just normal consultants, I would say the standard practice that I will just do my part, then the clients have to deal with a lot of parties.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But for the claim, they have to go through each of the consultant claims differently.
Oh.
So architect got the process. Then
so meaning the architect will claim from the client or claim from you guys?
If it's our style, our consultant will claim from us.
Alright. Yeah. So it's kind of like a turnkey consultant, project manager like that.
Turnkey consultant, yes. So we only dealing with clients directly. He only dealing with one party. But if it's a standard practice, then the client have to deal with a lot of parties. Or maybe he will engage architect to become the SO, ask everyone part under the architect.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of architects don't really want to take the risk now because
was there a guideline saying that now engineers can be SO as well? Is there such thing?
For certain projects like factories and warehouses.
Yes.
Yeah. It's very straightforward because it's just a 3-story office, then behind the warehouse or factories. Usually these kind of projects, engineer will be the SO.
Because it seems to me that the scope that the engineers sometimes cover, like all the way to JKR, IWK and all, it's
actually
a lot more
departments involved.
More departments involved, right?
Yes.
So it makes total sense that you guys are the project management
team. Our fees is never always better than architect.
So that's also another problem there. Yeah.
Because most of the projects, architect is the SO.
Right.
Yeah. So that,
but of course, given any project, if you guys are the SO, then of course the fee should be very much different.
I mean, in another way that we are considered as the architect, the SO. So of course, the percentage of the fees will be higher.
When you said just now, the fees are typically around 8% of a project entirely. Everything is not under you.
Yeah, cover all the scope of services that consultant need to provide. I mean, the standard one is like architect, CNS, M&E, or maybe sometimes QS. Yeah. If required.
Right. To what extent do you typically provide consultancy up until you start charging? So for instance, let's say very normal for clients to start looking for land. Hey, this land can that land can I want to build this, I want to build that.
Oh, this one is FOC, bro.
FOC, right?
Yeah. So I do have clients going to, I want to buy this land, buy that land.
Yeah, we have experienced that, right? So after 1 year, they haven't decided which land to go.
Yes. Thankfully, some of my clients that will ask us to go and check with them, we get the project thankfully.
Okay.
Yeah. So from that stage, then you following up, and then they will directly engage you as a consultant. I mean, we are considered their in-house already. Yeah. Because all these clients, they're looking on services. Consulting is always about service, right? The quality of the service you provide to them. So if you have a good relationship with them, the payment term especially is good and smooth.
Yeah,
Definitely gonna last long for this kind of relationship.
When you say in-house in a way that there is a retainer because they could be looking for several places to expand.
Yeah.
Is that right?
It's not really a retainer by project basis. Once they acquire a new plot of land, they will ask us to do some study some feasibility study for them. But all of these are non-chargeable, I would say. Yeah, because for us, I always want to get this project. Okay, I do this study.
From a business sense, it's non-chargeable, but from a guideline point of view, is this
from
part
in terms of service? You may charge them.
Right.
You should charge them. Nothing comes free, right? There's no
because
free
they sometimes
lunch.
will bring you to see this place, that place. Oh, this one can buy that building can buy or not.
Yes, correct.
Right.
You need to do analysis for that and evaluation. And if say the existing building, we need to check the structural integrity of the buildings, something like that. So actually, if you by right, all these are chargeable. But as in business point of view, you wanted to continue the service later on. So, yeah.
So let's say for some of the things I'm doing, I have a client, for instance, looking to either find an existing shop lot or building to become a restaurant, or they could also look at an empty piece of land to build up. Of course, the first thing that they will always ask is like the budget. If I'm going to build from scratch versus I'm going to, buy a shop lot, what's the difference? So that's the reason why I asked you just now, like where does your service begin and all. So now my challenge here is that I've not seen the land, nor do I know what the requirements of the land is, and having to ask your team to go through certain analysis. But at the same time, you'll be torn whether to charge or not.
Yeah.
This is also a pro bono thing. Of course, depend on the scale and the success rate, probability of it, right?
I mean, if say like for us, if you have been the client for a long-term relationship really.
Yeah.
So all this likely we don't charge.
For sure.
But for new clients, usually we will explain to them, like, okay, you need us to check on all these existing building. Yes, there's a certain fees on it. Okay. Then maybe we can counter offer back, okay, if this project awarded to us in the next stage, then maybe we can give some certain discounts on
that makes sense.
What off the previous charges, things like that. Yeah, that means that's a fair for both parties.
Makes sense. So like when you say you guys do more project management, would that also then cover M&E?
Yeah.
CNS being main
yeah, because
spearhead, right?
Yeah, ourselves is graduated from CNS space.
Yeah.
So CNS is our main. But somehow along the path of this adventure, we really understand all these like architectures and M&E, the basic design knowledge that we should know, the bylaws that we should know. So we only able to provide all this info to our clients. I mean, as a project management, the more you know, the better it is. Yeah. So sometimes my M&E consultant might not be free to join the meeting. So when I brief clients all this info, like the BOMBA, bylaws, all this, we need to share to our clients. It comes to in-depth technical design, then I might need my M&E to help me out.
What are the type of projects that you guys mainly handle?
So far, our project focuses on factory and warehouses more. Yeah, another kind of services that we provide for our main contractors, like project management on site. So we help sometimes the main con, they are more like, they don't have their own engineers or what, one man show. They will just, get the projects, then they just do, right? They don't have a document controller,
Okay.
kind of things like that.
Yeah.
So it's part of our service also.
To support the main con.
To support the main con.
Building that.
Yes, help him to handle with the consultants or clients on the paperwork, the RFI, or the material checklist. We help them to handle all these kind of paperwork.
So it's almost like a very contract basis support service that you offer to, could be a developer, could be a main con, right?
Yeah.
Because some developers also don't have their in-house project management team. Could you also then step into like...
Yes. That's what we do also. So we help them to do coordination of works. Of course, they have a lot of sub-trades, sub-con, different trades of work. So we will help the main con to coordinate with them. Yeah. Or let's say they don't have this. For example, they're looking for wetwork contractors. Maybe the main con itself is not in the wetworks. So maybe you get a few quotation for them, let him to compare and review, something like that. That's part of the service lah. It might not need it, but we do encounter this kind of situation before.
So would you say also then project to project basis is almost very bespoke, very customized based on the requirement of the project?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, currently we are doing one project for our main con. It's mainly as a document controller, I would say.
Right.
Yeah, we need to get a full-time engineer on site, help the main con to overlook everything on site. The coordination, the paperwork, the documentation with clients and consultants. Yeah, the recent one that we got.
Okay.
So the main con is just, I get my subcon, you talk to my guy, my project manager.
Right.
Yeah, so he will just, he is the paymaster, that's all.
Understand.
From this kind of services, I mean, we will charge based on the retainer service. Yeah, like he paying a salary as a
makes sense.
Project manager and that.
Yeah. To making sure like EOT, RFI, everything is well documented so then they don't have paperwork issue to the end.
Correct. Yeah.
Do you see a huge gap in this kind of services? Because some of the Otai main con, they start off, as like low like that, right?
Yep.
Then after that, towards paper and documentation, they're not so good at it.
Yep.
Is this where you see the gap that the service could provide?
Yes, part of it.
Is this something normal or is because from my understanding that I never knew this existed, I thought has always been the main con, they need to settle it themselves.
It should be.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
By right, it should be. It should be that way that they have their own team to manage for that. But like you say, they come out from, then they become rich, then they want to become main con, but they don't have all these kind of people to support. On physical work, yes, maybe they have a lot of subcons that can help him on the physical works, but maybe not on the paperwork. That's why we see the opportunity that we can provide these kind of services.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Is that a different sort of qualification that is required to do this part of work?
As long we have the project management knowledge and skills.
Yes.
Yeah. Me myself, I ran for this PMP course.
Yeah.
Last time, so considered qualified as a project manager.
PMP. Yeah, I've studied that. I mean, like I've researched that before.
It's a certificate that you need to, but that thing is like every 2 years you need to renew your certificate. You need to go and sit for exam every 2 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Do you need to collect CCD points and stuff like that for that as well?
Yes, you may. You are required to. You're required to.
Oh.
So for this project management, and every year their syllabus is change. Their syllabus change. So from last time, there's this SOP on documentation, the work program, all this. Now they will call it agile style. Yeah. So then maybe another 2 years there will be another set of PMP. But as long you understand the concept and the knowledge on the whole construction industry, how it runs, I think you should be fine. I mean, you are entitled. Even you know what's the process. and the paperwork that need to be done into set for the main con.
Absolutely. I think the paperwork is
Just
something
go.
that is very big of a problem that leads to like a make or break a project.
Correct. Because before I started my own business, I worked in consultant and dealing with big contractors like Kajima, all these. Their paperworks are very strong. So that's where I learned the importance of this process as well. Because when it comes to this litigation, all these things, all these are the supporting documents that backs you up. So yeah, this is very important things in the whole project.
So aside from like what you guys are currently doing, the services that you provide, what are the other things that you guys are exploring?
Exploring too.
Yeah.
I mean, for us, definitely go for development if there's any chance on this. We open for opportunity to JV with landowners or developers on this thing, because our style is like, if say today you are the landowner, I have a piece of land but I don't know what I want to do with it. Hi sir, I have a teams here that I can do the design, calculate all the GDV, GC for you. So whether you want to PA the land for me to help you manage, then we are talking about profit sharing after this.
Yeah, makes sense also because there are probably families who own land that they don't know what to do with it. The next generation will want to do something about it.
Yeah. But it's funny that we started off doing this project management is on these illegal factories. In Sungai Buloh, especially in Sungai Buloh area. Last time, all these factories, there's no CCC. There's no building license, I would say.
Well, then how do they come about? Like, how is
That's
it
why
built? How is it being...
The Majlis enforce on this program. It's called Kilang Tanpa Kebenaran. So, yes, enforce the factory owner to do proper submission. Because one thing, they're very hard to renew the business license. Yeah.
Okay.
If your building, they don't have a CCC, they don't allow you to renew the license.
Yeah.
Or at least...
So over decades or years, it has been like that. But they still
I think it started off about 6-7 years ago, this program.
Okay.
Yeah, I think more than 7 years ago, less than 10. So it's been there for a long time. It's just that the authorities is enforcing on this thing, like, I don't let you renew your business license. Okay, I want to upgrade the road. You are forced to surrender land to me, something like that. So that's where the opportunity where we started off, we can provide all these service, and it provide us the opportunity to learn all this process also from. I come from CNS. I don't know about anything about architect.
This is very bureaucratic and very
we don't know
administrative.
anything about M&E and architect. So from time to time we know for architect, we need to submit building plan. So M&E, we need to submit for what kind of departments.
And this is also not like a guaranteed thing because the factory is built the way it is.
Yes, there's
sometimes
no
it's
setback.
Basic modification could help, but what if you
and there's
cannot
no setback, right?
meet the requirements?
Beat the requirements.
Like what you said.
I talked to the owner. So okay, we draft out the plan. We need to surrender this portion of land. Or some owner understandable. Okay, I surrender.
When you say surrender, meaning to say it's like a compromise, like
you have to compromise because anyhow in the master development from the authorities, because taking example Sungai Buloh, now their road is only like 20 feet. It's always jammed inside there.
Yeah.
So you need to enlarge the road. So in the master development, the landowner need to surrender a certain portion of land for them for their road upgrading in the future or drainage upgrading in the future. So yeah, you need to surrender. Even for all new projects, there's setback, right? 10 feet, 20 feet for different kind of buildings. So all these are authority requirement. Some owner that not willing to compromise. So I said, okay, that's where our service ended here. We claim until this stage only. Yeah.
When they don't compromise or they don't adapt to it, pretty much
they couldn't renew the business license, then
it'll be a wasteland.
Maybe there's some other loophole that can still renew the license, which I don't really know how. or maybe they're paying higher renewal license
I see.
fee on these matters. Yeah, but for building plan, you definitely need to follow the guideline. Yeah, in the program, for a factory standardly, you need to surrender about 25 feet of the setback. But
Surrounding
in
it.
this KTK program, the majlis allowed 13 feet because he know most of the buildings there
Couldn't
already
meet the.
push to the limit already. So okay, they just want you to surrender a portion of it.
But what if your building is built out beyond the setback line? It's either you do modification to your
You need to demolish that
portion.
exceeded portion. Yeah,
Wow.
you need to
You're talking about this whole area of Sungai Buloh has been there
Not only
since 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Kampung Baru, Subang.
Yes.
Actually, a lot of places having all this kind of illegal factory.
Mm.
Yeah, just that no one take action on it until recently. Then Majlis enforce them to carry out all these submission. Like I say, for the whole services to get the CCC, we need DO, we need infra plan, building plan. But I would say most of our KTK projects start in KM. Once we got a KM, when you come to building plan, they have to start surrender all these buildings that exceeded the boundary or the setback.
Then they don't want to do that.
Then they don't want to do. They just say, just leave it. And Malaysia style drag, delay. Yeah.
Wow.
Say a project's 150k.
Ah.
So when you get until the KM stage, maybe you only entitled to claim a 50k, and that's about it. And for all this kind of DO, the duration is freaking long, about 1 to 2 years. And some might involve land title change, tukar syarat, because last time it's agricultural land, then you need to change to industrial land.
Okay.
And this process could take about 1 to 2 years.
Mm.
Yeah, but our fees won't change, still remain there.
Yeah.
But it's part of our service. You still need to carry on with all these documentation stuff like that.
That's the only open loop that that's happening within the construction industry, because you can't really set a timeline and a duration to a certain phase.
Yes. For if the client is genuine, then yes, like he rushing for his building to be completed in a certain timeline. We understand that we must hit like 18 months.
Sometimes it's very pressured, but at the same time, there's a peace of mind that things will happen in place in time.
Right, exactly.
Right? Instead of like an open.
Another case, like a lot of open, I bought this piece of land, I need to do study first. You don't know when he gonna develop. You just keep doing
randomly will just call you, can we have a look at it?
Yes. And down the road, it might take 2-3 years time, or maybe or even longer, and it won't happen. For renovation job, we do have some renovation projects. It's much more straightforward, but most of the hiccups is come from authorities, I would say. There are comments sometimes are very ridiculous, I find it. Like a renovation process, for instance, extension of the car porch. So maybe after we carry out the soil investigation, test that the ground is good, so we're just going to do rough foundation or pad footing design. And they still required us to submit for earthwork plan. And our question is, there's no earthwork to be carried out in this design.
Right.
Why we need to submit for earthwork plan? Oh, because you got correct you got correct tanah your pad fitting So they still ask us to submit all these plans.
So it's just like a copy and paste plan just to change the drawing title kind of thing.
Correct. We submitting because we need to pay for the process fee.
Correct.
A few $100 to the authorities.
Yeah.
So we cannot apply per neutral. Yeah. I think it happens in DBKL a lot. The DBKL projects.
I always hear about us working in different majlis. There's this majlis that's different. There's this majlis that's good and all. What led to this different standardization of majlis?
I mean, generally the regulation won't be different much. It's just that the process, like taking an example for MPPJ. So usually we are submitting for the rest of these majlis, we are submitting through this OSC portal. Okay, this MPPJ, they have another set of system. So you need to submit to their, I think it's called eSmart or Smart PPJ. This system approved, then only you're entitled to submit to OSC. They have extra things to do. Then only you entitled to proceed with the rest of the submission. Yeah, the process is somehow the same, just that some might do extra, some might not. Some might be more straightforward, some might be not.
So it's like you're going to different playing field and you need to abide to certain different rules lah. It's like a change of maybe 5% of rules that.
Correct. And also, it's very dependent on the officers.
Right.
All officers request on different things. It's human behavior.
Yep.
Yeah, I like you, then maybe I don't comment too much on this. Maybe.
Yeah.
If not, then die you want this and that to comply. That more things for you to do.
Has there been a change since the years that you've been in the industry that the way the process takes, is it more efficient now? Has there been any improvement? Do you notice it? Because I used to run MBBJ like 12 years ago and I've not done it. Until recently, I helped my wife set up a clinic. I get to go see CCAPs and all. You're right. 3 different officers tell you different comments.
Story, yeah. Once the officer change really for the same project, then he might ask for different requirements.
The difficult part is the pre-approval was given, and then after that, there's a U-turn on comments.
Exactly. I mean, there's definitely improvement in this industry because everything will be more transparent. From like last time, we can just submit hard copy directly to the authorities, right? We don't need to submit all this online system thing.
And then online signature and all.
Yes. But for now, they want everything to be documented online. Then only you submit the hard copy. Somehow it's like a double work. But it's also, at the same time, they want to make this more transparent, I would say. Yeah. So, I understand the point of view where the authorities come from.
Yeah,
they want to cut off all this hanky-panky stuff. So, of course, this online thing is shows improvement. Of course, more works for the consultant to do. I mean, like last time, we can just submit direct to, let's say, infra departments, engineering departments. We can submit hard copy, get the approval out, then we just give to the architect. That's it.
Yeah.
Now we have to wait for this online approve on our plan. Okay, then we submitted. We proceed to submit to the engineering department, and he might have comment again. Then we have to resubmit again online. Then only submit hard copy to them. Yeah.
Would this is this actually taking more time than it usually does?
Definitely taking more times. Yeah, more efforts, more papers to print.
So. I think this is something that a question that I get a lot from a lot of clients. To submit for renovation, to submit DO, for instance, what's the typical timeline, right?
Okay.
I know it's very hard to answer, but what's your take on this question?
Actually,
give a much more robust answer.
In the regulation, right, each of these departments or government body, they have certain period of time that they need to reply to the applicants.
Okay.
Right. For taking renovation, for example, once you submit it online, it takes 14 days to reply back to the applicants. Then, but usually the first round, definitely we have comments. There's nothing one type of pass on. I mean, I somehow I'm questioning whether is there the way that they're buying time for allow them to have more time to do other works. I don't know. Then once the 14 days, you submitted the second time. Right. In and out already 1 month. So if for renovation project, likely we can obtain it within 1 to 2 months. But okay, back to the question. DBKL.
Okay, when you say renovation, it's a home renovation. Let's make this a bit more
renovation,
digestible for the general, right?
Yes, okay. House renovation.
Let's talk about house extension first. The basics.
The basics one. For factories renovation, because you will involve more departments. Because house, you do need to involve bomba.
Okay.
Or maybe KPS or JKR. You do need all these departments. But for factories extension or renovation, you will involve all these external departments. That's why 1 month to get the approval is quite impossible. You don't know how long each of these department takes to reply you. And they are always busy. They always have seminars and talks to
Because I understand also DBKL, they compile all the approval to be reviewed on a certain day or like a Friday or something like that.
DBKL is quite efficient in that way. For all these house renovation job, they are processing quite fast.
Okay.
But for rest of these, for factories or houses, might take a longer time.
The one that you built from scratch, right?
From scratch, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely take longer time. I mean, in terms of the DO application, of course we need town planner for this submission. Easily it will take 3 to 4 months time.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, then comes to building plan. To get the building plan approval, you need the engineering plan to be approved, the infra submission. That's why you need to obtain this IWK, IS Lango, JPS, JKR, JKKP, Jakarta Alam Sekitar, all these approved, then submit back to the building department, compile, then only you get a building plan approval. So usually, the construction period about 18 months, 6 to 7 months is for the submission purpose, 12 months to build.
Okay.
Yeah. We take this as a reference.
12 months is potentially, let's say, factory.
Factories, yes. For a house also. For
renovation
house,
also about 6 months.
Yeah, of course, for house renovation, it's definitely shorter. Even for building a bungalow, 12 months, maybe 4 months for the submission. Yeah.
Okay, so let's have a very clear-cut, straightforward answer from yourself on to allow people to understand for 2 scenarios. One is bungalow extension renovation and one is terrace house extension renovation. So what would be the easiest way to understand the process and the time taken and probably the cost? Maybe in the shortest possible summary from your mind.
We call it a residential extension.
Okay, so
I think the process should be the same. Residential. Because residential, either bungalow, semi-D or terrace house, the extension should be the same. The process should be the same. But for factories or industrial buildings extension, then it will involve more departments and longer process.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for those house extension renovation, what would be the step 1, step 2, step 3, and how long does it take?
For renovation, generally we don't need to go through this DO. We straight submit for the renovation plan.
Okay.
To obtain a renovation permit. Because for DO is likely for a huge area of extension or a new development project. Only we are required to submit for KM.
Okay.
Yeah. For bungalow, for residential extension, if it's not extend 1 story or 3 story, this DO plan might not required.
So based on our project that we work on together is to extend 1 more story. How do we determine the severity of because maybe another word would be how much work is needed for the submission? Because you mentioned renovation submission, but when you add 1 floor, then it becomes building plan submission.
Yes, yes, add 1 more floor, then we need to submit for building plan.
Okay.
Your renovation submission is way shorter.
Right? It's just like extend kitchen, extend front porch.
Correct.
Renovation.
That one could be done in one time.
Okay.
But extension on this 1 story or 2 story, the process involves this building plan, then it involves this engineering department submission as well.
Okay.
That's why it takes longer time.
Would that from 1
I
month
think one of the
3 months?
regulations stated in the bylaws is the area extended up to
a certain percentage, right?
500 square feet, if I'm not mistaken, then you are required to submit for building plan or even KM.
Okay. Then quite straightforward that one.
Yep. I think the bylaw is stated very, very clearly that what kind of submission you are required for what kind of extension or what kind of projects that we carry out.
Interesting to know. I'll just run through if I don't think I've asked any of these questions that I've prepared, but I think we touched on a lot of interesting things as well. I think, okay, let's probably on the last topic we can talk about lah. It's perhaps for the younger generation career path. What are the things that you've learned over the years that could be insightful for someone who's entering the
engineering room? I mean, I'm having hard time to hire new engineers though. Because I realize like young engineers these days, right? They're likely to work in other industry. Or
very likely a lot of engineers work in other industry.
Yes.
Could even be banking, finance.
Correct. Or even they might go overseas, Singapore. A lot. Because they are paying well. But our engineering is always the fresh grad engineer started off with a 3K. But 3K I work in other industry, I can get even higher. Things like that. So unless for piece of advice, if you wanted to enter this path, just go all the way to obtain this professional engineer title. Unless you really like
IR.
Yes, IR. Too keen to sit for this exam. But me myself also, I haven't get any title yet. I'm preparing to sit for the exam.
Is that like a very long process? How's the success rate? How's the outlook of it?
Success rate is very low because I think to sit for this exam and to go for this title application is experience based. Yeah. The tough part is on the interview session. The interviewer usually they are very experienced engineers in this industry for a very long time. They will question you in depth on your experience. But thankfully, because these days the board really set the scale of marking scheme, what kind of question they should ask, what to be written in the report and the logbook. So it's very clear picture that how we should write in our experience really. Compared to
there is a guideline of expectation. Wow, yes. That's very nice.
Yes, and these professional engineer exams these days, they're split into two parts, tier 1 and tier 2. Okay. For tier 1, we call it the hexagon chop, that you are not allowed to submit for any authorities yet. But for like engineering reports and shop drawings, all these you are allowed to endorse on it. You can actually endorse lah. Yeah, you can actually endorse on certain shop drawings, things like that.
But on the basis of what authorities? Like, because if you're an engineer, you have your numbering. Yeah. But if you haven't got it, how do you endorse those?
I mean, even if you pass your tier 1 already, you already have your number, I would say.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, then when you want to go further, I mean the full round chop, they're entitled to endorse for design to authorities, all these submission things. Definitely you have to go for tier 2.
And that's it.
And for this, I mean, I am talking about experience lah. Last time from 5-6 years ago, there's no clear guideline on how you need to write. We just throw everything in the report.
Yeah.
So, but the interviewer might ask you something out of your report. But now these days, the interviewer not allowed to do that. They need to ask based on what the applicants write. Yeah. So there is a guideline already. It's a very clear guideline that what you should ask, what you should write, and things like that.
What makes you think there's this change to it?
I think a lot of people, because the success rate is very low for engineer.
And it makes it very...
Yeah. Not really. I mean, that's why I believe there's a lot of people complains also, because last time
people are less interested
my ex-boss, it's like a 15 years old engineer, he seek for 15 years experience of engineer. She seek for the exam, she couldn't pass. Then it's like, why? I believe all this is scenario trigger, things change. Yeah. Somehow.
How many times do you expect people to keep sitting and over and over again, right?
Yes.
I've known like my senior who is almost like 50 over years old, went for the exam 4 times over. I screw it lah.
Correct. Because they don't. Last time they don't have all these guidelines. That's why. Last time I know you are working this consultant. Maybe I don't like you. I give you tough question or
So there's a lot of probably
varieties. It could be like this. It could be like this.
Yeah, because this is an interesting data that I picked out when I was studying in Germany, that In Germany, there are 80 million people. The population is 80 million. There are 30 million in Malaysia. We've only less than 4,000 architects. So you can see 4,000 to 30 million. But there are 300,000 architects in Germany. They are only 3 times our population, but they are 10 or 100 times more. But of course, it makes a difference in the industry as well. Maybe the architects, they are less valuable. The competition is high. But I think that's something that, it's for us to kind of look at it and question.
Right.
Because this is something very important to a lot of our younger future generation. I myself trained as an architect, but I never practiced it. Right.
Yeah.
I came out graduating from a class of 100 people, but I think up now almost 12, 14 years later, probably less than 5-10% made it to become an architect. 10%.
Same to my batch.
So what happened to the 90%? Right? Are you trying to figure your way out again in the society or in this industry, or venturing into new industry?
Of course, because I believe like in the society there's a lot of interesting new jobs these days.
Oh, that's true also.
Yeah. Fast money. Right. For engineer it's always like 1 year, the first 2 years you get this much. The third or fourth year you get this much. It's very consistent.
Very progressive.
You wouldn't like, you perform very well, you completed this project very fast.
I'll give you 3 times
100% increment. There's no such story in this market, I would say. Yeah, so I think there's forcing people to leave. That's the reason also. I mean, engineers or architects not really being appreciated. I mean, fresh grad engineer, they come out, they always complain this. When during your university time, you design a whole new building in a city or whatever.
Yeah.
And they come to work drawing toilets, facility rooms, utility rooms, come out from drafting, become a draftman instead of an architect, right?
Yeah.
You have this impact to them. I don't really know.
Yeah. True also. Yeah, so the last thing, so maybe you can finally share a little bit about like what are your thoughts, after starting your own business, doing what you do, what are the insights that you can kind of share?
Starting on your own consultancy business is quite challenging in this market, especially when we first come off into the market, right? People are questioning like us, how are you?
Okay.
You're very young.
Yeah.
Do you have enough experience?
Those are the moments that you wish you were 10 years older.
Yes. I will look 10 years older. I always got this question, even for now.
Yeah.
Even now. But experience and I would say the info that you share to them that need to impress, change the perspective to you. That's why I think in this construction industry is all about experience based. You need to know more other than just your own experience. I mean, your own knowledge.
Yeah, your own trade.
I'm CNS only, then I should know.
Gotta be jack of all trades also.
Correct.
You need to know a little bit about everything.
Little bit about everything. Yeah. Let's make you stand up and impress the clients.
Yeah.
If not, then just what's the difference that I hire another engineers, right? Yeah.
It's also quite a pity that some of us used to be taught to be specialized in something. When you're really, really good at just one thing, then you could potentially make it better.
Correct.
But when you start realizing when you're so specialized, you don't know about a lot of things that's happening around you.
Agreed.
The plumber says something, the electrician says something, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, awesome. Thanks for your time, man. Thanks for sharing. Thanks, bro.
Thanks for the session.
Yeah, so I think there's so much more to share that
we can ask
Yeah.
more architects.
Unfortunately, David isn't here.
Yeah.
Maybe you can have architect here and then see you guys fight over
Maybe next time
certain
we have more people to discuss on certain
Sure.
topics.
Hey, okay.
Some
So
interesting topics on
then we have,
engineer against the
one main
architects.
call, one architect, and one.
Yeah.
engineer.
Everyone definitely have different point of view. So it's gonna be interesting to share all these stories.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, bro.
No problem.
Okay,
Thank
cool.
You.